And for our fourth reading, we have criminal law. Now, criminal law serves the purpose of promoting what used to be called the king's peace, and in fact, the sovereign is still represented in this country. Every time you read a criminal case, you'll see that it's the state or the people versus whoever the defendant is. The purpose of the criminal law isn't to seek justice necessarily for the victim. You know, the victims do the bleeding, the hurting, and believe me, I'm not being less than empathetic, but the purpose of the criminal law is to provide order. Basically, what it's looking to do is to deter such conduct, to punish such conduct, incapacitate those who do conduct, perhaps reform them. In addition, the mere fact of bringing a criminal case denounces the kind of behavior. It's an affirmation that society doesn't approve of the type of behavior. One of the cases that I often use, and I realize it's a little old now since most of you weren't born when it happened, but the case of the state of California versus O.J. Simpson, where it was alleged he killed his wife. You know, we go through that. Basically, the state of California wanted to incapacitate and punish O.J. Simpson, deter others from making that sort of conduct. You know, I don't know how much reform went in. The fact that there was a not guilty, however, didn't diminish the fact that the behavior was denounced. It acted as a message bearer, saying that that we don't approve of chopping up ex-wives, and we weren't going to tolerate it, whether we happen to approve it in this case or not. Anyway, the focus isn't on the victim, it's on society. Basically, we're looking to keep society as a whole safe and prevent the spread of violence, people taking the law into their own hands. Compensation for the victim is really part of the private remedies, and we'll see that in tort. Now, one thing, and I will probably mention this next week as well, the same act can give rise to both a criminal case and a tort case. In the case of O.J. Simpson, your parents will recall that he was found not guilty of the criminal case. He was, however, found guilty of various tortious acts against his ex-wife, and there was a judgment in the amount of $33 million against him. We'll talk a little bit next week about how that happened, but just bear in mind, those are in two different worlds. We have the government's interest in promoting stability, and we have the individual's interest in keeping things, providing compensation. Okay, so next week will be tort, and keep the quizzes and readings discussion board coming. We'll look for you next week.